this world that's filled with so much noise and information, how do we really stand out and be who we were really meant to be? In this podcast, we focus on injecting you with positivity, optimism, and strategies, all centered around helping you be who you were always meant to be in business and life. Be inspired to show up in your own skin to learn strategies, habits, and skills from others as we share our own life journeys and stories. There's no other you, and you know yourself better than anyone else. So be prepared to take away habitual tidbits, tactics that will encourage you to pursue and live your life, not the one others want you to live. Welcome to Stand Out Be You, where you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be you. Hello, welcome back to Stand Out Be You. If you need to make changes in your mental, physical, and business life, then you're going to want to tune into this episode. I'm Tequila Dodard, and I'm super excited to be here with you today with another episode interviewing a solopreneur. As you know, Stand Out Be You is about capturing the story of solopreneurs for you, and I have here with us today Megan Nolan. Megan helps busy and overwhelmed business owners find better ways to relax during the day by showing them how to do yoga at their desk. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Yoga at your desk. What a service to give to others, right? If you're like me and you want to get into yoga, especially while working, then this episode is for you. We're discussing Megan's journey and how she has now made her signature strength her business. Before we take a listen, you have to join the Stand Out Be You community, where all the Stand Out Be You guests are collaborating and helping others in business and life. Megan is in there. She's giving us tips on how to do yoga at our desk. And I'm in there too. Go to tequiladodard.com/community to join us. Megan, welcome to Stand Out Be You. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Aloha, everybody. Thank you, Tequila, for having me. So, yes, to give you a brief introduction, my background was in gerontology. So, gerontology is the study of aging. And although I was so excited and interested in it, I realized that I kind of wanted to approach it more from the preventative side because I'd always been a dancer and I loved exercise. And so after I graduated, I became a personal trainer. That was 14 years ago. So I became a personal trainer and really enjoyed that. I loved the effect that it had with people, being able to interact and help them feel their best. And then I'd been practicing yoga for a little bit already. And so I decided to take my yoga teacher training. And so that kind of really complemented them nicely. And so I began to use the principles and practices of yoga when I was doing personal training. And people were loving it. And I was loving the effects that I was seeing in their body and in their mind, in their life. And so integrating exercise and yoga became my passion. So that's how I started. And then because I was a contractor, independent contractor, I was kind of always entrepreneur, but realized shortly that I wanted to be able to take my skills and change them and adapt them. And that's kind of one of the beauties of my work is that since I'm always learning and practicing my own yoga and my own exercise, it always adds more layers and layers for my clients and for my work. So I was doing that for a good 10 years exclusively, just working in a gym, working with private clients, doing fitness classes. And I loved it, but I was kind of really getting burnt out on it. So about, 7 years ago, I moved to Maui because I thought, you know what, I'm done working for myself. I'm just going to go work for somebody else for a little bit, just kind of punch the clock and just have to, no worries, go home at night. I don't have to think about anything. I'm done for the day. And then I was working for somebody else for 5 years but was kind of always doing my own little side thing with clients and stuff. And then that shifted and I realized, okay, although it's scary, I'm going to go back into it because I know best what I want to be doing, and to be able to offer my skills and my talents and my gifts in that way just made sense. And so I went back into working for myself exclusively 2 years ago, and I'm super happy that I did. I mean, I've gained knowledge when I was working for somebody else, and I had knowledge when I was independent. And so being able to bring it all together was perfect because it really brought everything to a point where I had so much experience on the business and technical side. And I realized I have these gifts and I need to share them. If I don't, I'm doing myself and the world a disservice, because this is my light and this is the way that I shine. And I really need to, and owe it to myself to be able to shine it out in my unique way. And so that's kind of my journey with entrepreneurship and where I'm at now.
You know what, Megan? I think that you are telling the story of my life right now, because I'm like, oh my gosh, because I told you, we talked about it, listeners, before we got on the call, that my undergraduate degree is in exercise science. So I think that there's no other arena or industry that prepares you for entrepreneurship than being in the wellness and fitness industry at some capacity. So I did personal training. I did general manager of huge wellness centers, the whole nine. And we always have our little side gigs on the side. Right. And that's how I started online. Tell me more about that. Because now we met online. So is it something that you're primarily doing online? Is you're helping entrepreneurs inside of their, inside of wellness and making sure that they're being healthy and taking care of themselves? Because we'll get a little bit more detail about this, because you're doing yoga at the desk, which I absolutely love, and we'll dive deeper into that. But are you mainly online now?
Right now, I'm probably about 50-50. So about a year ago, I'd been working with people that had been working at desks throughout my whole fitness career. And I realized the impacts that sitting was having on my clients and on myself. And so with more coming out about the impact of sitting, I realized that I have a really unique way to help people with that. And so I kind of shift my work into workplaces. And so I go into a lot of different workplaces here on Maui, and I do yoga at work sessions with them, and I do different workshops, de-stress at your desk, breathing deeply for less stress, yoga at your desk. And so I do a lot of in-person sessions, but I realized based on what they were needing and what I'm seeing is so important for so many people, that I created the Yoga at My Desk course. And so that is helpful for my clients in between our in-person sessions, but also helpful for a lot of people that are working right out of their homes as entrepreneurs, because it's an online course that helps people just take a 10-minute break, move, stretch, and breathe, and then get right back to work. Because sometimes people don't have the motivation to go out to a gym, or they don't want to. And so this course is really helpful for that.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, Megan, this show is all about individuals, and we kind of talked about that in the beginning, that someone who may still be in the 9-to-5 that really wants to really reconnect with their passion, or someone who does have a side business right now that really needs to kind of shift it and put some excitement back into it. What keeps you going and what keeps you excited in your business?
I would say that constantly developing my own practice. So I'm kind of lucky, because what I'm teaching people is what I need in my own body too. So I need to be moving and stretching and breathing every day. And so I'm constantly learning and doing online stuff and going to classes with my teacher, because it really sparks that inspiration in me, realizing that there's always ways that I can transform my life and transform my practice. And so that's what really inspires me, is constantly learning and being able to bring that back to the table to help my students and to help my clients.
And have you always been, like, even before doing what you do? I mean, have you always been in wellness? Is this always been something that you've done since you were younger?
Yes, I have. I did some retail work and some hospitality work, but my career has always been in wellness. Yes.
Yeah, so you're working within your strengths. That's what I always tell people, like, stay within your strengths, stay in your wheelhouse. It's okay to build other additional, circles around that, but what's your main core? What's that wheelhouse that you're in? So what's the hardest part about doing what you're doing right now with your operations and your business? What's the hardest thing for you?
Probably the bookkeeping. I was doing some tax prep before we had our meeting today. And so that's one of those things that it's like, I think I should outsource it, but I haven't yet. But yeah, that's one thing that's like, makes me want to pull my hair out, but I'm learning.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I always say too. It's good for you to learn those parts of your own business. And then when you know that you've got it down packed, then outsource it, do what you do best, and then outsource the rest, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
absolutely. So let's say an individual who's listening to you like right now, and they are like, oh my gosh, I wish that. And if you saw, I think both of us, they can see on both our ends, we have palm trees and all that kind of stuff. So they would like to work from their desk and be at home, be able to spend more time, whether it be with their friends or their family. What would you give them as far as, let's say, 2 tips for going ahead and really taking that first step to just make it happen?
I would say really look at what lights you up. Like when you talk with your friends and you're at a dinner party and you're having a conversation and you're sharing with them, what do you love to talk about that you are like, you know, your hands are all over the place and you're so excited? That is something for you to explore and figure out how you can morph that and transform that, doing some research. Maybe people are doing something similar already, but how you can take that and turn that into something that becomes your profession, becomes your job. Because I believe from my own experience and from everything that I've learned that if we can turn our passion into our profession, it really becomes our purpose. Because then it's like bringing all the pieces together and that's the magic. So that would be one tip, like figure out what it is that you love to talk about, that you love to do and you love to share. So that would be one place to really start. Another place would be just to start talking to people about it. Because as soon as you start building that energy around it, then not only do you have sort of that way to communicate and get creative, but then you start to build the momentum around it. And even if you're not opening a brick and mortar just yet, you're starting to get the energy out there about it. And then there's momentum that comes behind it. And then you can start to get ideas just from brainstorming with people. Because sometimes, you know, we get blocked with like, I don't know how to start. I don't know what to do. And then we just kind of loop in that and then we don't do anything. And so if we can start of like casually chatting it up, then we get ideas and then we start to take action. And that would be the third piece, is just take a little step every day. Do a little something every day, because that all adds up.
Absolutely. Stop being stuck in yourself. And when we hold on to all of these things and we don't let it go, then no one ever knows what we do. And then no one will ever even come to you. You're not even able to test it or try it out with individuals. That's what I like about our community. I'm telling everyone, come in, test your stuff with us inside of the community, and then we're able to tell you, hey, we were liking that. No, that's not really our vibe. Yeah, you were really stuck into yourself with that statement. So let's make sure it talks back to me.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about your yoga at the desk, because that's where I was like, whoa, what's going on? Tell us how did that start? Because now you've created it into a course, which we all know that's fantastic to have when you're online. So tell me more about that. Let's hear about that.
Well, it came from my clients that were like, we love our sessions and, you know, you give us homework, but we don't do it. You tell us to do all these things and then we do all these things and then I love them and I feel so good. But then when I try to go do them on my own, I don't do it. I was like, okay.
Life of a client for sure.
Thank you for your honesty. How can I help you? I can make videos for you to use. When you have the idea or the initiative to take a little yoga break and you want to do it and you don't know what to do, I can help you. I can create 10 so I ended up making 10 lessons that are 10 minutes each, because we want to do stuff, but we can't necessarily dedicate half an hour to a yoga break, but we can give 10 minutes, because 10 minutes is a good amount of time for us to get things moving, to reset physically and mentally, and then go back to work without taking a big dent in our day. So I thought, okay, 10-minute breaks, and we all have different needs, and each day we all need different things. And so each session, each one of the lessons has a different focus. So for example, one of the common complaints with people when they're working on the computer is neck and shoulder tension, right? It's so chronic. It's such a thing that so many people deal with. It's crazy. It's like 75% of the world's population deals with that, the neck and shoulder tension from all the phone and tech usage. So that's one of them. And that was one of the main driving forces, was the impact that posture has on us. And so helping people become more aware of their posture through these sessions and these tools, that was definitely like what motivated me, aside from my clients asking, but that was really important to me too, because as a yogi, posture is everything. And so if we can become more aware of our posture, and it increases the health of our spine, and just like trickle effects being awesome. So each one of the sessions has a focus. So then there's like core strengthening, lower back release, de-stress. So there's so many tools in yoga. So one of them is specifically focused on how we can de-stress, like if you're feeling like you're wound up. And then another one is a boost of inspiration and creativity, because there's lots of different yoga tools that help us kind of spark up our brain power. Because I work with a lot of graphic designers and they sit a lot, but they also need to be inspired. So that was one for them. So it just kind of brought all of these amazing tools into these little nuggets of these yoga breaks and brought it together as the Yoga at My Desk course.
Oh, I love it. And I think it's so needed, Megan, because like what you just mentioned, coming from that wellness industry, posture is so important. And people laugh, I say I was born before the internet. We used to be on computers, but definitely not as much as now. So I can only imagine the stats have just increased. They're like off the chart for how individuals are with their posture. And I just think overall self-care. Now, have you seen huge improvements from your clients from you doing them having the course versus when they were actually coming to your class?
Yes, they love it. They love being able to just take a break and reboot. And I'm definitely seeing improvements, because then with the course, there's more frequency. Because like anything, if we do it more frequently and we do it regularly, that's when we start to really see the benefits. Because it was great for them to see me once a week. And I was seeing changes, over the course of 6 weeks or so. I would notice changes even just seeing them once a week. But when they started doing in between our sessions, then I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Look at you go. Like, there's so much happening and I'm so proud of you. And they're like, I know, I'm so proud of myself too. I can stand on one leg, and then, so it's like win-win for everybody. So definitely I do notice a change.
That's definitely a rewarding type of feeling for an actual expert, for a fitness expert. You're like, oh my gosh, they finally got it.
I know.
So Megan, how can we get in touch with you? The listeners who are listening right now, how can they get back?
So you can go to the course to check it out at yogaatmydesk.yoga. So that's the website. And then if you want to take a look at that, and then I did create a little coupon for you. So if you use the code BU, you can save 10% on the course. So it's www.yogaatmydesk.yoga, and then the code is BU. So, and spell it out, BEYOU. Yeah, so you can check me out there. And then on Facebook and Instagram, I am Vitality Wellness Maui. So I do lots of daily posts, inspiration and techniques to help people integrate yoga into their day and into their life. And then I do have a Facebook group that is the Yoga at My Desk Tribe. And so that is, again, more resources for people and inspiration. And I do weekly lives, just giving more tips and tricks. And so that one you can join at bit.ly/yoga at my desk tribe.
Awesome. And I will link everything in the show notes, everyone who's listening.
That's a lot of information.
I know. So the next part is we're going to go into personality questions, all right? Oh. Not that we have not already, I always pull the personality out of individuals, but let's go into some personality questions. Tell me, Megan, if you could go back and speak to your 10-year-old self about life, what would you tell yourself?
I have done a lot of work around that, and I can tell you right out of the gates that it is what I tell her on a regular basis is that you are so special and you are so unique and you have a really amazing way of doing things. And sometimes people aren't going to like it and they're not going to appreciate it, but I want you to remember that you are so special and you are so unique, and you have to keep doing what you're doing because you're great at it.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
Thank you.
What's the furthest city that you've traveled to from your birth city?
From my birth city? I've been pretty far. I was born in Maine, and I guess from Maine could be out here to Maui. But I've also, I guess, from Maine to Ubud, Bali. Probably the farthest.
That's far. Yeah. You're closer to me. Yeah. I was just there this summer. So you're coming on my side of the world now, even though everyone thinks that Guam and Hawaii is pretty close, but it's not that close. So this next one's really fun. If you could be any animal in the world, what animal would you be and why?
Well, that's funny you asked that, because I do have another side business that I will explain in a moment, but I would definitely be a humpback whale.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. In Maui, every winter we have, I think it's usually around 15,000 and the numbers are growing, which is great. We have the Pacific Northwest humpback whales come to Maui to have their babies and mate. And so I haven't experienced them until I was out here, but I realized that I love and appreciate the whales. They have like so many lessons to teach us. They follow their intuition. They're so wise. They're empathetic. They're gentle. They sing because it's fun for them. Scientists don't even know why the whales sing. They think it's just for fun. And then they splash, they play. They're very loving. They're very nurturing. And then they celebrate by breaching out of the water. And so, yeah, that's why I would definitely be a whale. And they inspire all of that like childlike joy in me. So I love seeing them. And so I made a funny sticker that says whales make me happy. And so, yeah, that's my side hustle of my other hustles.
I love it. And now I want to come over and see the whales and bring the kids. Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, now we have to go visit Megan over in Hawaii so we can see this.
In the wintertime, it's typically from like December to the end of March is the peak season for whales.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Megan, this next question is, I'm all about the name. The name is very important. So how did you get your name? What's the story behind it?
Well, my family is from Ireland. My dad's family is from Ireland and my mom's family is from Scotland. My parents thought it was an Irish name, but it's actually Welsh. But no big deal. It's pretty close by. But they were naming me after my maternal grandmother, whose name is Margaret. And so I guess Margaret has a derivative of Peg, and then Peg kind of leads to Meg. So that's how I got named Megan.
Okay.
Yeah. So after my maternal grandmother, sort of.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Megan, it's absolutely been a pleasure to have you on the show. And we're so excited to get more healthy at our desk.
Yay,
and
good.
If you are too, we are actually inside of the Standout BU community. So you can come and visit Megan inside. So we're in there and we'll be in Healthy Fit and we're talking business and life and all of those things. And definitely I will link everything in the show notes. Megan, do you have any parting advice for the audience that's listening right now?
My advice would be to go for it, to take action, to take steps, because we all know how yucky regret feels, and we have to maximize and enjoy this life that we have here to the fullest. And so if you have an inclination to do something, go for it, because you have a special way of doing things, and it's up to you to be able to show up and show the world how awesome you are. So that would be my parting advice. Go for it.
There you have it from Megan herself. Everyone, thank you so much for taking a listen. And until next time, remember to stand out, be you, and that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. Until next time.
Have you been thinking of starting a business, or have you been sitting on an idea that you need to really get out there, but you just don't know how to do it? You don't know the right way, or you don't even have a strategy at all. Well, I have you covered. Let's find out your signature strength. For this mini workshop, determine what you should be doing in your life right now using the information you already have inside of you, as well as the skills. It's a free video that will help you get back on track with your purpose and help you define what it is that you should be doing right now. You can go to tequiladodard.com/signature3 to get started.